Well, hello, welcome back to another exciting episode of Yomo, a year of magical learning. And as of we are talking about reading books and taking reflections and kind of lessons we learn, and we talk about it and understand more of it. For those new to the podcast, welcome. This is on YouTube, so if you are watching it, please subscribe and like the video and hit the bells and all that. So, without further ado, I'll hand it over to Chris.
Yeah, thanks so much, and glad to be back again. This is the best highlight of my day every day. So, it's always fun to talk about, share stuff you're learning and reading, the journey that we're on. So today's book is book number 89. It's a book called Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life by Hector Garcia. No. They went to go study this concept of Ikigai.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. It's hard to go to an Italian restaurant and order Chinese or something like that. And to me,
I think it was more of them. Maybe there were Italians going into a Chinese restaurant exploring why, how do you cook Chinese food? They're in the back kitchen kind of thing. That would be more of the author description, I would say here. Have you ever heard of this Ikigai? You've heard of Ikigai? Well, then you tell me what Ikigai is. What is Ikigai to you?
Well, Ikigai to me, I don't really believe it, but it does make sense. They're talking about having your circles, right? One is on what you do, what you're good at. When you have what you get good at, it's essentially your passion. And the things that you do, does it make money, right? If it makes money, then it becomes like a profession, right? So you have all these characteristics of yourself intersect. And the center of these intersections of what you're good at, what you do for money, and what the world needs, and whatever, and those three circles intersect, and whatever is at the center of that intersect is called Ikigai. And Ikigai means it's the most optimal for you to spend in that place, because it intersects your passion and things you do for people, and the thing that you're good at and thing you get paid for.
That's a pretty good description. I think the book itself describes Ikigai as the place where passion, mission, vocation, and profession intersect. And, for me, I'm not Asian. Obviously you are. You clearly have heard of this before. But for me, it just means meaning, purpose, same stuff that we talk about, right? It's the Ikigai for me equals purpose, equals right. What are you on this earth to do? Right. What are you here for? What is your purpose? That's the intersection of your vocation, your passion, your values, your mission in life, the people you're around, the work that you do. That's your purpose. That's the way that I think of when I heard Ikigai. When I read this book, I was thinking, oh, it's just the Japanese word for purpose, but I know that it's
right. But I think a little bit more than it's a little bit more than that. That's why I don't believe in Ikigai in totality.
Right. Well, I think I do have to read this book because I believe in purpose. So, I think that it does.
I'll tell you my reason why I think it's not in totality. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree 100%.
Awesome. So that's what Ikigai is about. The book's about. It's about learning from these people. What is their Ikigai? Where their Ikigai came from? How does it help them to find meaning, live a long life, help them give them purpose and meaning and direction in life. So my personal reflection from this is living life on purpose. We were just talking about this the other day, but I feel like a little bit of a broken record with these past few books, and you can kind of see as if you follow along with this journey book by book, you can see how certain books compound on each other in a certain time frame where things are starting to stack up a little bit. So at this time, and I still say this stuff, and we say this stuff all the time,
if you truly live the value that you claim, then yes, it's going to be on your mind all the time, which is good, because that's a proof that you're living what you said you do. Right. And so these are the value that you live. And when you live, it's not just, I did that yesterday. Well, it's every day, it's every minute. You immerse yourself in the value. What is the value that you believe in? If you believe in it, then it's every minute of every second of your existence.
I couldn't agree more, which is why this journey is so fun for me as I start to, this is like my memory palace, I talked to you about that with the book Moonwalking with Einstein, where like the memory champions, like this is my memory palace, right? This is me documenting it, sharing it, but it's also for me to build and compound and grow with my own thoughts and ideas and be able to recall when we go talk about these things. So anyway, this book, I find myself these days saying, beaver must dam all the time, painter must paint, the stuff, all that good stuff, right?
I've done saying because it points me to my the true north of my compass. My compass
Right.
Using that as a point of reference. Hey, this is the direction you're going, and it's is this much far away from the true north?
Right. Yeah. So like when we say a beaver must dam, we just talked about this a couple episodes ago, but they wake up every day knowing what they're supposed to do. I don't feel like they look at the eagle flying around and they're like, man, I really want to do that, or the fish jumping over the logs and the dams they create and be like, man, I wish I could just swim upstream and go explore. They're like, no, this is what they do. This is what they're here for. And I don't think that they even think twice about it. I think this is just, their Ikigai, just like beavers. I feel like everybody has an Ikigai. I mean, this is just my personal thought. I do feel like everything, every person, even inanimate objects have a purpose in this world and serve a purpose. Clothes or furniture, or whatever that may be. Everything serves a purpose and deserves to serve a purpose. Otherwise, they shouldn't be here, But here's the trick with all this stuff. And we've talked about this in the past as well. While Ikigai is amazing, purpose, whatever you want to call it, it's amazing, right? The beavers know what they're supposed to do every single day. It gives you clarity, it gives you direction, it gives you all these things. So how do you find it, right? That's the tough question. And you and I have been going back and forth about this, and I've been grappling with this idea for years now. I don't think you actually find your Ikigai. I think your Ikigai finds you. And we've talked about, the pain and suffering and how that plays a part in all this stuff. And I think that is kind of the origins of a lot of where your Ikigai comes from, where it points you into that just that searing memory and that pain of driving you forward and pointing you into a direction. I don't think you find it in your pain, but I think it starts to open up to you if you want to seek it, I guess, coming out of that pain. For me, my personal Ikigai was found, obviously, as anybody that's been following along this journey knows, when my daughter passed away, and my own search for my own Ikigai that came out of that. I like to call it living for two, which is waking up every single day to honor the memory of my daughter, to harness the example of the values that she demonstrated to me in her short life that she was here in this world, and then to turn those values that she taught me into action, to honor her memory, to share her with the world as well. So like, this is my Ikigai. This is what I will do until the day that I die. And I'm very confident with that. And I feel very fulfilled with that. It's something that I get an opportunity to spend time with Amelia every day. And I get an opportunity to express myself, do meaningful work, feel like I'm making a difference for her, for myself, and then whatever comes to that, comes to that. But at the end of the day, it gives me purpose and it gives me direction. It gives me a reason to want to get up every single day. So for me, I'm left wondering, is Ikigai really worth it? Because I don't know, Ikigai, purpose, whatever you're going to call it, I would give it up in a heartbeat if I could still have my daughter here. But at the end of the day, like that's what I got, So if a beaver must dam, I got to live for two. And that's how this whole Ikigai thing, I guess, works, So we'll see where it takes us. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to get your thoughts. First off, the question is, what's your Ikigai? I know we've talked about it before, but if you want to share again and talk about it, happy to.
Right. So for me, I want to make a commentary first before I answer the question, because I think the Ikigai means reason for life, right? Basically, your reason for living. And that translates to what we know among our community members in the Western world as your why, your purpose, right?
Yeah.
But, in the informations of Ikigai, a lot of people are drawing this, a Venn diagram of, your circles of this and your circle of that. I don't think that's truly reflecting. It's what you do that is important to you, which is go back to simplifying the actual definition of what an Ikigai, or the reason or your purpose, right? Your
it's
why.
What you do every day.
It's what you do that is you, like a beaver must dam, right? A beaver can do other things every day, right?
Sure. It could be an Olympic swimmer.
Doesn't mean that he finds his reason to exist.
Right.
And so that's, to me, in my understanding, that's the original definition of what an Ikigai is. So that translates directly over to what we're saying, find your why, right? Your purpose, right? That's what we mean. And I agree with that 100%. On the other hand, I think a lot of people take the Ikigai and they kind of butcher it a little bit, and it creates these circles of the Venn diagram of the Ikigai, where you have here, that do things that you love and do things that the world needs and do things that,
This is what I'm saying.
You
can't, I don't think manufacture an Ikigai. Right. I don't think that you
because if you
rationally put it all together,
yes, like that's why I want to make this commentary. So that means that the circles, to me, I don't believe in these technical circles that people take the Ikigai. I think people butcher the Ikigai concept and kind of modify it to the point where it stray away from the original meaning. So that's my commentary. So
Yeah.
so that means that, I'm not doing things that whether I'm gonna get paid for or whether people needs, I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't care. If I'm a beaver, I'm creating it.
I don't care if you-
Regardless if somebody is gonna need it or not, I'm still gonna do it because I'm compelled to do it. Like I'm made a certain way. I'm compelled to do the thing that I was made to do because that gives me some sort of enjoyment and fulfillment of some sort, whatever you want to call that feeling of, this is what it's supposed to be. That's a feeling. A lot of times, you say, hey, I'm doing this, but I make no money, right? So if you say, hey, I'm going to use the Venn diagram on Ikigai, then you probably not going to find a thing that you do that you really love, that you do every day, you do to your day, you die. You don't do until I'm retired. Anyone who does to the point where they retire, that means that that's not what they want to do because they want to take a break from it. They want to stop it, right?
Right. You don't
That's
stop
not,
your
that's
Ikigai.
not the Ikigai.
Right.
That's not the purpose. That's not the reason. So I want to caution warning that when you do the technical Ikigai concept, you probably going to miss your reason for existence, right?
Yeah. I don't think that you find it. I think it comes to you, and I don't know that.
I think yes and no, because it's there, right? And it's yours, it's specifically for you because that has the correct match. But at the same time, you could ignore it. So that means you have to kind of search for it. But at the same time, it has to say, hey, this is going to be the right match. So it's there.
You have to be open to finding it.
Right.
It reminds me of the alchemist a little bit. It's like when he's out there searching for everything, you learn it along the journey and it all comes together eventually,
Right. Because a lot of people never found the Ikigai. They never found their purpose. They live
a lot of people never searched either. I mean,
and that's my point. They don't search, right? And the thing is, I think it's out there. Every single person has a purpose, right? They made, a beaver. They're gonna want to dam because that's the way they make. You can't ask them why do you want to. What benefit do you get from creating dams, right? They don't know. They say, hey, I just like it.
I just got a dam, man.
I just gotta do it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the thing is they have to go and find the things that are the purpose is always out there because they have been created or made from a patterns and combinations of certain atoms and molecules in DNA, whatever you want to call that, right? That has a specific pattern. That pattern has a matching purpose. So that purpose out there, but if you don't look for it, you won't find it. A lot of people don't. Some people do through some painful experience because that create these painful experiences and
they force you to search.
It forces you to look because I can't see where I'm going. I don't see what the current path that I'm on is the right thing for me. So you are forced to look. And when you're forced to look, you have a much better probability of finding things that it's going to match what you are made for.
Right. That's a really great point. I don't know why you just drew a link in my mind to something that you and I have not argued about, but I think that we haven't come to a consensus on yet at this point in time, where I've been pretty adamant that through pain and trauma and things like that, that's when you find your Ikigai. But to your point, you've always been like, well, I don't think that you have to experience pain to go, but I don't know. We've gone back and forth on this topic many times, but I think that
you're just lucky.
Right. Sometimes you're just lucky, but at the same time, I want to make sure I get this out of my head because this is percolating right now, as you said. That. It's like what we talk about with God, right? In my opinion, God's always there. You can always access God. It's your consciousness and the ability to ask a question and have a conversation with yourself. That's God to me, right? But you have to ask the question first, and you have to go out there and search for an answer. And God will always be there to help you out. You have to ask the question.
So
you have to search,
and
then it's a partnership at that point in time.
Right. So with that aligns exactly with what I'm thinking, because you think about it. If you believe in God, right? God's always out there, whether or not you see him or not, right? And that's what I'm saying. Your purpose is always out there, regardless of whether you see it or not. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, 100%.
And if you don't search, you won't find it.
You have to. I mean, it's not even just like if you don't ask a question, you'll never talk to God either. Like that's why religions in perpetuity have centered so much around prayer and meditation and having a conversation because you have to talk
the point of a prayer and the point of these quiet time, it's you actually asking the questions.
Right. You're thinking.
Hey,
You're
hey
you're
God,
thinking.
why is this happening to me?
Right.
What do I need to do?
Right.
When you
But you're
ask,
searching.
that's exactly what it is. You're searching.
Right.
If you don't search, you don't find. And that's what I'm saying is, you have to search. You can't just say, hey, it's gonna find you. If your why finds you, well, I don't need to do anything. It's gonna come
Right.
to
Yeah.
me.
You have to. Yes. You're right. Like, actually, that's a great point. Like, and there's a big gap between. I like that we're bridging this gap, because I still am of the impression that most people aren't going to go search just to go search. Like, I don't believe that. People just walking through life, whatever, doing whatever. If they haven't experienced any
Most
reason for
people don't.
change,
I mean, most people don't until they have.
and happiness doesn't drive change, right? Like, I mean, like,
Right,
if you're
exactly. It
happy, why
doesn't
would you
drive change
change? Like,
because you say, hey, I'm walking along and I'm going that direction. Nothing bad happened. Nothing forces me to stop.
right.
Right.
Pain
So
will force you to stop and ask the questions, is what is kind. So I think that we're still in alignment with. I think that pain.
well, I think pain is the
is the
majority.
catalyst.
It's a majority. I mean, I always say 80%, but there's other 2%
sure.
or 5% that hey, you come across somebody who is
just
like,
had. I don't believe that, actually. I mean, you have no idea the background of those people. I mean, like, there's stories you hear
no. The thing is,
all the time.
it's all about whatever you can do to spark the question in your head. Once you can spark the question in your head, and like I say, inspiration can come from anywhere, and that's why I'm saying you cannot rule it out. I have this logical brain of mine say, hey, even if it's less than 1%, but it's more than 0%.
I suppose somebody out there could just, for whatever weird reason, maybe they were taught,
or maybe they will groom into it. They will groom into it, whether they understand it or not. They will groom into thinking that way.
Sure.
Think about it.
I mean,
if I know how to do it, right, and I groom my kids from when they were first born, and I do everything to make sure that they think in that way, that's the world works. That's how it works, and I isolate them from everything else.
Right.
Do you think that would make it?
I think there's a better chance that they may start
because
that search
if I keep
themselves.
asking them, have you asked yourself why? Have you asked yourself this and that? We ask ourselves, these questions, what's my purpose? Right.
Could be.
They hadn't gone through no pain, but because I had gone through pain, I knew what I was looking for. I just pass it on.
Okay, so I'll accept that there is no absolutes in this world, for sure.
True.
Well, no, because there's no ones and zeros, right? I'm just kidding.
But
but to your point, though, I guess I'm trying to think of how to tie these two things together. And I remember what I wanted to bring up. You were talking about, creativity, inspiration, things like that. You don't ever know where it's going to get sparked from. I think there's a big difference between creativity, inspiration, and Ikigai. Like, I've been inspired many a times in my life. I've been incredibly creative many times in my life, but that wasn't my Ikigai.
It's not a black and white thing. You're talking about creativity.
Right. It's something you should be able to do every single day for the rest of your life and feel happy about it and find fulfillment in it.
Right. I mentioned creativity and inspiration. It means like your input, right? The input that you get, right? You can't control that. It could come from anywhere, and it could trigger you to start thinking about asking the very simple questions. What's my purpose?
Right. It's conscious.
And then from there, if it catches on and if it lingers, you continue to ask the questions and you continue to explore, and eventually you will find the Ikigai, which is that singularity of the things that, hey, I was made the best to do this.
We've talked about this before, and I forget this term. We need to start using this term more often. It's conscious doing, like, it's when you have an Ikigai, you're consciously doing something very intentionally.
I mean, to me, conscious doing requires effort. Once you have an Ikigai, you don't do it consciously. You just do it subconsciously. You and I do this every single day. I don't think about it. I don't know about you, but I don't think about it. But that's what I'm saying is, for me, if I missed it, then it feels weird. Okay. So it's not like I'm thinking about it. I'm just saying, hey, it feels weird. It doesn't feel right. Right. There's that feeling. I say, hey, it's not feel right. So to me, it could be just me, but conscious doing is something that you want. When you have something that you do and you do it every day, and it doesn't have any obstacle, then it's effortless. Like I'm saying, I'm going down the river. I'm not going upstream. I'm going down the river. Everything I
Right.
do today, like with what we're doing, is effortless. I just get on these Zoom call and we just talk about whatever subject comes up. It doesn't matter. And I enjoy every single second of it. That's my Ikigai. I love to talk about these things. And it's like to the point where we don't shut up. Yesterday, we almost went an hour.
Yeah, no, yeah.
What I'm saying is, this makes me feel like, I'm right at home. I feel so relaxed, and I feel like there is certain existence to me that it's good. Like it's like the term quote unquote feeling right.
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 Yeah, no, I agree.
And so for me, I don't do that consciously. I don't say, oh, I'm going to do this today. I just don't. When time comes, I say, oh, it's time to meet with Chris. That's
Right.
it. That's it. And
That's
when
fair.
we do when we do something conscious, like when you do something, say, I'm doing this on purpose, you require a conscious to do it. That means that you haven't got to the habit of it. Let's say there's an obstacle, and I'm sure there are scenarios where there's something that you want to do, but there's obstacle that does prevent you from doing what you want, and you have to consciously say, first things first. I need to take care of my health, take time to talk to True and explore and let my mind be activated, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes, hey, I have a lot of work to do. I have this to do. I have that to do. I have so many things. So I say, I skip it. But subconsciously, you say, hey, I need to think about what's first things first. What's the most important to me? What's the long-term things that I want to do that I need to do today? But if you eliminate all the obstacles, then it shouldn't have any effort. I don't want to take to the point where, hey, you always have to think about it. If you have to think about it, then it's a conscious effort. There is a going upstream part in that.
I hear what you're saying. I think we're saying the same thing, just in a
I think we're saying the same thing, but we're talking about different parts. Because
right.
yes, I believe in the
very
conscious
intentional.
doing at certain extent, based on certain.
Everything that I'm doing is very intentional, and it was consciously designed. I'm not saying that when I perform those activities that I'm consciously exerting effort.
Well, conscious design and conscious doing is two different things.
Well, so I guess here's where the conflict comes into my own mind, is with Amelia. Like, I can't ever not consciously think of her, like whenever I'm doing something, I just can't. Like sometimes if I stop thinking of that.
Well, that's two different things though, Chris. I mean, you're living for two, but the other thing that you want is you want to remember her. That's why you're doing these conscious things, which is fine.
Right.
But it's not a universal, it's not a
right.
universal concept that you can say, hey, it's required conscious effort. No, it doesn't require conscious effort, because even if you don't remember, Amelia, you still doing the exercise, the learning, you are doing first things first, you're doing all these things that your core values tell you. The thing that you want as well, in addition to all these values, is you want to remember your daughter, and you want to honor her, and that specific wants, the specific needs requires a conscious effort.
Correct.
That's the exception. So it's not the norm. That's what I want to call out. It's not the norm, because the thing is, whatever you do today without all your core value, you're doing it unconsciously. You just do it. Hey, I exercise. I put the first things first. I take care of my family or whatever. You do that unconsciously. But the thing that you want in addition to all that is to remember the reason why you're here, right? Is to say, oh, well, I know I'm living for two, but who's the other two? If I'm one, who's the other two? You want to remember. And that exception of remembering needs a conscious effort. So that is for your particular case. It's an exception. It's a rare exception. It's not the norm.
Well, then that could be fair. I mean, that could be the case. But that's also when I keep going back to the whole pain conversation, because that's rare if somebody's experienced serious pain. Because while that pain is something you don't want to always think about, you can't not think about it.
Right. I mean, I think that's why you have to also consider that everybody deals with pain and deal with different situations differently.
No,
Some
I agree.
people, when they are too much pain, they just crack and they just wither away.
I mean, this goes back to what you're saying. It's still a partnership with your Ikigai. You still got to go search. Even if pain is the reason that sent you off in that search, you still have to search. Like, you can't just take pain and sit there and lie down, and
Right.
you're just going to die.
Some people channel the pain, and some people
right.
just succumb to the pain and just fade into the oblivion.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even call it channeling. You have to take a step somewhere and you have to search. Like the Ikigai will find you.
It's navigating the pain that comes at you.
Right. Exactly. It was funny when I read this book because I was like, oh yeah, it's what we talk about every single day. It's like, no shit, these people live until they're 100. Even though I would give anything to not have been on that search to find this Ikigai for my own self, I also know that it's going to be the reason why I don't ever want to leave this earth, because I'm going to try to endure and do what Amelia taught me to do and fight and live my values like she taught. I'm going to do that until I absolutely can't. And that means that I'm going to keep probably fighting longer than other people, you know, and these centurions, these people that have the Ikigai, like there's,
Ikigai
goes hand in hand.
Even though Ikigai is a Japanese term, a Japanese concept, but it doesn't mean that the Japanese live the longest.
They have like the more like centenarians or whatever you call them than like anywhere. There's somewhere in Italy too. I think it's on, it's called the Blue Zone or whatever.
There's a bunch of Blue Zone in many, many different places. So it's not just to say, hey, it's only the Japanese live the longest. And then you have like, okay, there is the fat tail and the thin tail, right?
Right.
I mean, how many centurion among the millions of Japanese that live in Japan? You can't tell me, hey, on average, the Japanese live longer than Americans.
The 4 fallen areas have been identified as blue zones: Sardinia, Okinawa, Costa Rica, and Greece.
Not Tokyo.
But yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah.
So
different life.
Tokyo doesn't have Ikigai?
Well, no, I mean,
it's not a part of Japan.
fair enough. Fair enough. Well, actually, your point may hold very true there. If you find places like Sardinia or Okinawa where this concept can be passed on and learned and taught, versus having to go wait for bad shit to happen.
In Okinawa, people observe,
right?
They see and they say, well, I wonder.
And they start their search earlier because they don't have to wait for pain to, all right, that's fair. So it can be taught. And that's what we're trying to do. I mean, honestly, that's what Clubany is. I mean, right? Is to try to help other people.
So come join the company so you can find your Ikigai.
No, not
pain, that's not what we want.
Yeah, right.
We say, hey, one atomic bomb is enough.
We'll help you.
Let's channel the experience of this one person that has it already, right? Because, like you say, you would not wish this on your worst enemies.
No,
the pain is really great. You can't just say, hey, come in. I'm going to inflict this massive pain on you so you can find your Ikigai. Well, I mean, it's kind of harsh.
That sucks. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
It sucks a lot.
I would give anything. If you, a million times over. You're right. I'm with you. I'm glad. I just learned a lot on this particular conversation of what we're trying to do and trying to help other people to discover it. Get them on that search. I mean, that's what we're doing. We call it the Core Values Quest. It's all designed to say, go ask the questions and go find the answers. Go find your Ikigai.
Yeah.
All right. I love it. Yeah.
To me, that's the Western equivalent of what is your Ikigai? What's your reason for existence?
It's a great question. That is not a question you can answer on a.
But I think that's important.
Yes, that is a question that can start you on a journey that'll last you a really long time. But we hope to be here to support you through that. Let us know if we can help. But thanks for tuning in. Any final thoughts?
Ask the questions and see where it goes.
That's all you can do. Fantastic. All right. Great conversation as always. And we will see you all
next week. Good night.